how good they can play in the next match. And Kenya tomorrow, I'm sure they would like to put in a better performance than they've put in over the last couple of games as well. So certainly our guys won't be taking them lightly, that's for sure.
There was one match in the English Premier League. Stoke City at home against West Bromwich Albion, and West Brom sub Carlos Vela saved them a point with a late equaliser. Stoke had taken the lead thanks to a Rory Delap goal 8 minutes into the second half, a point enough to take West Brom out of the bottom three. There's a huge game on Tuesday with defending champions Chelsea at home against the current leaders Manchester United. Victory would take Chelsea into the top four, but preparations for the game have been overshadowed by a police investigation into defender Ashley Cole, who shot and wounded a work placement student with an air rifle at the Chelsea training ground. Manager Carlo Ancelotti says Cole will play against United, and the club are taking disciplinary action against the England fullback.
Obviously, we are not happy of what happened, but I have spoken with him. He was really disappointed about this. He said sorry, he made a mistake, it was an accident, and now obviously we are taking a proper action, but tomorrow he will play, and I think that he is in focus to play a good game.
Another famous left-back in the news, Roberto Carlos, once of Real Madrid and the Brazilian national team, landing in the Chechen capital Grozny ahead of his debut for his latest side, Anzi. Carlos, who's now 37 years old, has signed a 2.5-year deal for Anzi and will make his debut in a cup game against Zenit St. Petersburg. Finally, the new World Golf rankings are out, with Martin Keimer officially taking over from Lee Westwood as the new world #1. This despite the Germans' defeat to Luke Donald in the final of the World Match Play in Arizona. Keimer overtook Westwood in the rankings after winning his semi-final on Saturday. Donald's victory, meanwhile, moves the Englishman up to #3 in the world, with Graham McDowell 4th and Tiger Woods down to an unaccustomed 5th. And that's all the sport. Back to you.
And stay with us right here on Al Jazeera. We'll update the headlines after the break. We'll see you in a moment. A reminder that you can keep up to date with all the news on our website. You'll find that at aljazeera.net/English. The headline there right now: United Nations worried over Libya access.
Hello again. It's still very cold for many of us in the northern parts of Asia. The winds are still coming down from the north, dragging in that fresher air. We've got a lot of cloud, a few outbreaks of snow, but it's mostly just going to be the temperature you'll really notice as we head through Wednesday. A top temperature in Tokyo this time just of 8 degrees. Now, if we see any wintry weather, that's likely to be along the western coast of Japan here further east. There's a better chance of a dry day and maybe a little bit of sunshine coming through as well. Now, some of that cold weather is filtering further south as well. So Shanghai will have a fresher day, no higher than 8 degrees here. For Hong Kong, for the time being, it's actually quite warm. We'll get to around 25 degrees, that's 77 in Fahrenheit. But I think for Wednesday, we won't get above 19. A bit further south, and we've seen torrential downpours in the southern parts of the Philippines. That area of wet weather is now pushing a little bit further northwards. So the southeast, where we saw the worst of the rains, it will be a lot drier here for Tuesday, just more isolated showers to deal with here. Java, though, that's still going to be very wet, even Jakarta. For Australia, the wettest weather here is still in the far north. We've got one area of low pressure there across the Northern Territory and another one over Western Australia. Lots of rain pushing its way further southwards as we head through Wednesday. Heavy downpours here.
He's taken stolen goods and he's now dumping them onto the world without any sort of consideration for consequences.
From people making the news.
If the North will be saved a lot of trouble, I think it is important that they should come together.
To those it affects.
We do accept that there was very bad mistakes made in our banking area.
Behind the headlines.
Most South Koreans are not interested in reunification.
Is the inside story at this time on Al Jazeera.
From local traders to international finance, it's commerce that makes the world go round. For global companies and developing markets, communication is the currency, and information is the most valuable commodity. Counting the Cost at this time on Al Jazeera.
Ready to fight, the Libyans willing to take up arms against Muammar Gaddafi's stronghold. I'm Arund Naidu, and this is Al Jazeera, live from Doha. Also ahead, they're willing, but is the army able? A stark assessment of the weak firepower at the rebels' disposal.
All my people with me, they love me all.
A man in a corner and in denial, what Muammar Gaddafi wants the world to know. Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi appears either blissfully unaware or unwilling to acknowledge the tens of thousands of people across Libya who want him to step down. Libya's former interior minister and head of special forces has told Al Jazeera his men have enough weaponry for a march on the capital, Tripoli. The outside world is closing in as well. The US has begun moving warships and aircraft carriers closer to Libya's shores. $30 billion worth of Libyan assets in the United States have been blocked. Europe is following suit. And in an unprecedented move, the Human Rights Council unanimously voted to condemn Libya, paving the way for the country's expulsion from the 47-member UN body. Abdul Fattah Yunus used to be Libya's interior minister and head of the Libyan Special Forces. He renounced his posts last week. He's now leading what appears to be a growing rebel army. Our correspondent Jackie Rowland caught up with him and has the latest.
The ledger is thick and it's filling up with names. This recruitment office has been open only a matter of days and already hundreds of men have signed on. The army for which they're enrolling doesn't exist yet, but that isn't deterring the volunteers. These young soldiers joined the uprising against Muammar Gaddafi on the first day. Now they've enlisted in the rebel force and they say they're ready to march on Tripoli.
We don't want money or cars or anything. We want to protect the country and its people.
A lot of young people are sacrificing themselves. They want to go to the West. We have old men and women who will go to the West to liberate it.
So there's no shortage of volunteers, no shortage of patriotism and revolutionary zeal. But as to exactly when, how, and even if they intend to advance on the capital, that's another question.
The anti-Gaddafi forces say their first task is to defend the east of the country, what they call Free Libya. Taking the fight to the capital would be the next step.
We have a force that can protect Benghazi. The force may use heavy trucks to transport tanks to go to Tripoli and pass through Sirte on the way because it still supports the regime. The power we have is enough. The ammunition, supplies and